Hey guys, it's me Jenna from the White Witch Parlor, and today I want to do a frozen spell to help you unlock things that are blocked or plateauing in your life, just simply not getting enough energy flow. A lot of times this can be chakras and it can stop you from achieving certain things in life. So if your solar plexus is blocked, you might be getting not enough energy, personal growth, feeling that you can do it, kind of giving yourself pep talks. If your throat chakra is blocked, you can also suffer from lack of artistic expression, actually, and you might not have that creative flow that you need to get new things made and done, especially if you're an artist. So this spell is really fun because you can do a lot of things with it. You're simply adding water, hot water to things, and you're working with the element of fire and water, and you're going to freeze it, and you will make something that's really beautiful and magical. And it's during winter that this is a really fun spell to work because, like I said, you can do it for anything. If you have a fight with a friend and you guys aren't really talking, you can unblock that energy. You can add little items to this. You can add herbs, resins, oils, crystals. You can add little items that symbolize something to you. Maybe you and your friend have a similar or matching bracelet or necklace. You can add that charm to this. And the cool thing about it is that you will be getting it back when the spell is done. It's not something that's going to be burned or ground up and lost out in nature. So it is something that you can get back when it's done, and it'll be clean for you and cleansed energy and spiritually. So for the spell that I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a simple activation for the throat chakra for my artistic expression and creativity, because I personally can never have enough creativity. I do find myself to be an artist. I have been growing up all my life, seen myself as an artist. So I do want to work with herbs and things that are going to help me to unlock more artistic expression and creativity and creative flow. So some of the things you are going to need for a spell like this are, if you want, and this is all what you want to use. So you can use crystals. You are going to need a cup and something to make almost like a hole. I found this old bottle that I had, so it's perfect for the size of a tea light candle that I want to use in my candle later, or you can use votive candles, but I matched it up and it's almost an exact fit. So I'm going to literally use this bottle just to place it in here once I mix up my mixture and add the hot water. This, when I take it out, will leave a hole to later place my candle in here because the water around the cup is going to freeze. And at that time when it's frozen, you can simply take it out, and then you'll have your beautiful little luminary candle spell, and all your herbs will be trapped in the frozenness of the water. So it's a really magical thing to do. You're going to also need different herbs and resins. Like I said, I'm doing a creative unblocking and artistic expression, unblocking, opening my throat chakra. So I'm also wearing blue today. I didn't plan that. That was totally not coincidental, because there is no coincidences. I believe everything happens for a reason. So I'm going to use some white sage, some lemon. I have over here some juniper berries, some frankincense, and then I have some of my blue ritual salt to work with the color activation and vibrational properties. I'm also going to use some of my tranquility oil because not only do I want it to smell good, but I feel like it'll help calm me down so I can really pull in more creative flow instead of trying to force it, because I don't want to force creativity. And so, yeah, and I might even include some of these little clear quartz that I have right here, because clear quartz enhances everything. It's that master generator all-in-one crystal. So I would really like to incorporate some of the crystals if I have room in this. This is a smaller glass. You can use bigger glass, bigger cups. You can use Tupperware. You can get fancy and use different shapes and patterns. But remember that the more space you leave, the more herbs you can add. If you make it really thick though, you need to give it a lot of time to sit so that it can fully freeze, because you don't want water in the middle when you're lighting your candle. It's just going to kind of melt into it. So this is something that you want to do with the snow and winter. You can leave this outside while it's drying or freezing, and you leave it outside overnight, preferably under a new moon, so that it's really pulling in that new moon intention energy. And then when this freezes, you can use it and burn it on the actual new moon, and then you can let it melt, and so all your troubles are melting away. It's a really cool, easy spell. Like I said, anyone can do it. Children can do it. You will actually need some hot water too. I like to use hot water so I can mix everything in and you get the scent. You can attune to the scent while it's blending, and it also helps if you're using things like salt or anything that needs to disintegrate. And I also have over here a little key, because for me, if I had room, I don't think I do, but if I do, I'm going to try and add this key, because for me, this is like unlocking the energy. And so this is kind of what I was saying with little things you can add to it, charms, beads, anything that means something to you. And this to me feels like it will really unlock once this thing gets charged and blessed with energy. I also have some of my Yule incense burning, my new winter magical incense, so that I can get in that vibration of new beginnings and new growth and just happy energy. So yeah, that's what I did. I do have a little bowl here of some pine needles collected from my yard. You can put ice in here if you need to burn this candle inside. If you don't have snow where you live, you can freeze this in the freezer instead of leaving it outside, and you can melt your candle, kind of make a little nature setting, put some cold water or ice in the bottom, and let your candle melt into this. And you can dispose of the water later at a different time. But this is another way for doing this spell indoors too, if it's snowing outside too much and it's really cold and you don't want to be outside. So this is good for that. So let's get to it. It's a really easy spell. You just want to gather all your things, and we will go ahead and start our magical workings. Okay guys, so before you start the spell, of course you always want to cleanse your sacred space. You can use any kind of smudge that you feel comfortable using, even white copal if you just want to smudge and bring a happy energy. This isn't anything about banishing or scaring things away. This is all about you just unlocking something that's blocked in your life. It could be anything at all that's bothering you. It could be you trying to lose weight and you just feel like you've plateaued. It could be you trying to find new career choices, but you're just not getting any kind of information to your mind to flow into your intuition. So what you want to do is, after you smudge your sacred space and cleanse everything, then you can go ahead and cast your circle, which I already did all these things off camera, and now I have my little sacred space here. You can also just start with a simple meditation and clear any distractions in your mind and just do the spell that way. You don't have to get so technical when you're doing magic. You just have to literally believe and really put all your intention and energy into it, because when you're not doing that, that's when your spells don't work. You also don't ever want to get too serious about a spell, because then you start thinking, did I do this right? Did I do this wrong? And you start kind of not believing in yourself and your magic. So you really just want to have fun with it and do it on days that you are positive. Don't do magic when you're upset and grumpy and not feeling like doing it. Never do magic when you feel like you have to do it, because that's not how magic works. You have to believe, and you also have to learn to let go and let the universe kind of figure itself out and work its own magic and bringing it to you, because that's kind of working with the law of attraction. So with that said, that is also going to be in our little prayer thing that we're going to say with this, so it's going to be great. But anyways, when you're first starting, you want to start with adding all your things. So I'm going to start with my blue ritual salt, because the blue salt works with your throat chakra. It helps to activate self-expression, artistic creativity, vision, wisdom. I did charge this one with soda light, so it brings that wisdom. And so I'm just going to add a little bit, because you don't need much, and I want the salt to purify everything to the highest intent. And then I also want the blue to bring that opening to my throat chakra. And so that's what that is for. You can use anything you want. You don't have to use color. I like using color. You can see a lot of my products and labels. I use color a lot because I feel like it really, really does stuff to us. I'm next going to add my oil, because I want to kind of mix that in. You're also going to need a spoon. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but I do have a little spoon here with a long handle, so I can kind of get in there better. But I'm just going to put a few drops of my tranquility oil, and as I'm doing this, I'm going to put 3 drops, because I feel like mind, body, and spirit is always a good number, 3. So 1, 2, 3. I meant to do it separately, but came out faster than I thought. So my 3 drops of oil there, I'm just going to kind of mix it in so it doesn't get stuck too much on that one particular area. But while you're working this, you always want to keep that intention, like, what am I doing? The color really helps me remember. Every time I look down, I remember throat chakra, creativity, artistic expression. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the white sage here. I do have all these little apothecary jars on my website, but I'm just going to smash it up because I want some of these to float to the top when you're putting it in the water. I'm going to now add, and the white sage was for my purification and just kind of bringing this new beginnings to all my creative flow. I mean, I might get inspired really cool with something in the next week or two, you know, you never know. So this is what I'm kind of opening myself up to. I'm adding lemon for general cheer and happiness and warmth because that is where I want it to go. Some artists can get really down and dark. And as an artist, I have been there before. You know, I used to paint really, really dark, creepy things where I was like, where is that coming from? And I think that was because I didn't have enough of this warmth and joy in my life. So I'm going to add some extra lemon just because I feel like happiness and all these abundance is amazing. And then the yellow actually works with your solar plexus for bringing that energy out in that chi core energy. I'm now adding some juniper berries because of the blue. That was the first intuitive thing I wanted to add to here was juniper because juniper was blue and I needed something blue. This was also because it does work for purification. It smells really cool. I kind of smushed them up a little bit so that the scent will come up more. But juniper berry works really good for that releasing and opening up to something greater in a purified state. I always have my little platter here to catch all these things so I can save them later. I don't like throwing away herbs. And so now I'm going to add my frankincense because my frankincense here helps to also bring that enlightenment, the illumination, the wisdom, growth, expansion, all these wonderful, awesome things. So I'm just going to top it off with a little bit more of my white sage and 3 more drops of oil because I do want this to smell really good because I do like how this smells. And actually I'm going to anoint myself with this because I feel like I'll attune to this sense more now when I feel this way. So that was 3 more drops. And to top all this off because this is working really quickly and this, like I said, it is an easy spell. I'm going to add my candle in the side later on because if I add it now it might be difficult to stir things. So I'm going to add that on the side. And here's this, and what was I looking for? Nothing. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm now going to add the hot water. And I'm just going to add a little bit for starting because when I add this bottle over here, it's going to raise up that water. So I'm going to add a little bit, and as I stir, I'm going to say a little prayer. And so it goes a little like this. I stir to find an end to this pause, my mind now working with nature's laws. Because that is truly my intent. I want to just work to open up that law of attraction and manifesting positivity. I am stirring with my right hand because I want to welcome this stuff into my life. And if you can see the water turn blue, which is really cool because that is part of manifesting. And it does smell really good, actually. It smells like earthy and light and airy. And as an Aquarian, I'm really attracted to blue. And I'm really, really loving this right now. If it didn't have salt, I'd probably drink it because it'd be like tea. But I think the salt might make it a little bitter. So we'll just stir that up there. And we're going to add this bottle here. And if it's too low, I can always add more water. But I did add water to this just to weigh it down because I didn't want anything floating. And I'm going to kind of try to push aside some of the herbs. I don't want them all on the bottom. I want them kind of on the sides, on the top, like an equal spread. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but now I'm going to add some more water so that I can have a deeper candle. Hopefully I don't spill all over. And that's probably good. You don't want to go too high because when you carry this outside, it starts splashing around and everything that's up at the top can go out of the glass. So you want it all there. and you want an even flow here. So now that that's good, I'm going to see if I can add my candle to the side without it falling over too much. I have a little string in here. I'm just going to leave it in. Let's see. I'm going to try and put it in the front there so you guys can see it, but because this is a straight, it might be kind of hard. Oh. Alright. So when this is dry, I'll probably cut off that hemp rope, but I do want to have the hemp rope there so that I don't lose it later on when it melts, because it'll be harder to find. But I know this could be a fire hazard later when I have candle lit, so I'll probably go ahead and cut that off. But I'm just going to kind of even that bottle out in the middle. And now this is here. So when I was pouring, or after you pour, just because it's kind of a difficult task, you can now kind of bring all your energy back to what it is you're doing. And you can just hold your hands here, kind of like Reiki healing. And you're just bringing that chi core energy out through your hands, and your feet are on the ground flat, and you're pulling in all that natural energy from earth, and you're pulling it and channeling it through your hands. And now you can say your prayer for this little spell here, because this is your magic right here. This is what's happening for you in the universe, and how you're going to unfreeze these problems or blockages in your life. So I now unfreeze this lock. May it melt away, no longer a problem, by winter's sunlit day. And I actually felt something happen, but I want this energy to flow now. That's kind of what it feels like. It felt like something like moved. And that's it for now. This is all you have to do until it's frozen. When it's unfrozen, then you can start casting your magic. You can take it outside, meditate with it. Come back to this intention. That's what oils are good for. I'm attuned to this scent now, and this is what I'm using for this scent. So for me, the tranquility scent and then the mix of all these herbs is kind of like attuned to, oh yeah, I'm opening up this artistic expression and creative flow. So now I can get back into this vibration tomorrow and meditate with this. And so as the candle's burning, I know that the same burning inside is coming from my chi core energy, and this is going to melt away, and it's going to be releasing and opening me up to accepting and attracting an abundance of creative flow and energy. So if you're doing this spell, you can do it with other things. You can use, rosebuds if you want to do some kind of passion. Maybe you're lacking those passional vibes in the bedroom. You can add things like jasmine, rosebuds, something that's red, maybe some red sandalwood powder. Mix it all in, and so you have this like really good intent. And I use color all the time because color just really, really, really activates us, and it works so much through our chakras. We are like a rainbow. So that helps with all those things, and it's really fun spell. Anyone can do this spell. It's really, really easy and simple. And then when you sit with your candle and you see it burning under the full or new moon, you will see how your intention is sitting there melting all your problems away, something you created. So it's really fun. But I'm going to move to the next step so you guys can see what it looks like when it's all done and what the magic looks like. And so, okay, let's move on. Alright, so after a night of letting it freeze in a freezer or outside in nature, if you have the snow or the cold, then this is kind of what you get. And if you can see up close, it's really pretty. You have your juniper berries, your lemon, your sage, everything's kind of floating around. And as it was freezing, it got stuck in the ice, and it's really cool. This one I did earlier, and I actually am having trouble getting the glass votive I used for the middle out. And I don't want to break it because when I did try to pull it out, it started cracking. So I'm just going to leave it because the heat of this is going to actually melt this anyways. So we'll leave it that way. It might even be safe for fire, so fire has something to go in, and it's not going to, the water actually won't melt onto the candle. And so this is a little dish I was saying that you can make. You can add some ice or cold water to the bottom. You can bring some things in from nature, especially winter things like pine. A lot of other stuff is dead during this time. So you want to utilize what nature has to offer because it helps you to get in sync with this. And so you're going to place your little luminary here, and you want to make sure it's balanced and centered so it's not toppling over with fire in it. And you take your tea light or votive candle if you choose to use that, and you can just plop it down in the middle there. And So now that it's lit, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's really pretty. And I really look forward to using these outside during a meditation. I'll probably do a couple more before the winter is over for myself. And you'll probably see pictures on my Instagram of me taking pictures for these little beautiful magical luminaries. But now they have purpose, because I have seen these before, but now there's a purpose and a reason why they're there. And so if you do light these outside, just kind of keep an eye on it. Don't ever leave flame unattended, especially if it's in the forest somewhere or outside. I mean, if you have an outdoor fireplace and you're lucky enough to have that, still keep an eye on it. But you'll see as this melts away, it's already starting to melt on the top here. But this is a good time when you would want to sit with your luminary and just kind of meditate with it. And you can go back and revisit scents and anoint yourself with certain oils that help you. And I'm actually going to do a little drop right now. But you want to help your vibrational state to find where you were at when you were making this, and kind of go back to that and stay with it. And stay centered and meditate with it as long as you can. I mean, this is a tea light candle, and it's going to burn like 4-6 hours, so I'm not going to meditate that long, but I'll probably meditate with it a good 30 minutes and then maybe an hour, and then let it just kind of light its own and let the flame burn out on its own. And when I come back and revisit this might be fully melted or halfway melted. And at which point I will just leave it outside under the new moon and let it finish doing what it needs to do. But it's a really fun spell. When you are done and once you've meditated with it and you're ready to let these new things come into your life and this fertility, new beginnings flying into your spirit, then you can keep the herbs that are going to fall there. They're going to collect in one little pile. So you can either release those out somewhere away from your home, or you can bury them somewhere around your home, because this is all for something that's good. It's not a banishing thing. So you can... I wouldn't recommend using them for tea, but if you're willing to try it and you didn't use salt, then go for it. But yeah, you can do it. You can reuse them in another spell too, because this is something that you're doing for the better. So if you want to reuse some of these herbs and kind of make another artistic creation spell, or whatever kind of spell you're using, you can sprinkle the herbs under your bed once they're dried if you're doing like a romance or passion spell. So yeah, this is really beautiful. And it looks pretty, it serves an intention, and I really recommend trying it. Anyone can do it. This is good for kids too. It's really fun winter magic. So I hoped you liked my frozen spell, and if you did, you can give it a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my channel or go to my website at www.whitewitchparlour.com. And yeah, this was fun, so I hope you guys come back next week to see my new video. And I love you all. Blessed be, and have a wonderful, beautiful, magical day.